And me become like this, so let me show you how I apply powder to make sure that everything is nice and smooth and flawless and not at all patchy when it goes on your face, because we don't like patchy powder. Firstly, of course, get a good powder. If you haven't seen me rave about this before, you've probably not seen my videos before. It's the Vitamin Babe powder from the Beauty Crop. The more finely milled your powder is, the less patchy that it's going to appear on your skin. So obviously something that's a little bit thicker is more likely to appear patchy on the skin. Obviously the Vitamin Babe powder isn't my favourite for no reason. It is literally one of the most finely milled powders that I've ever tried. And finding a powder this finely milled is difficult. They don't come about that often. So I just start by taking my powder puff and tapping that in the lid, well, or in the net of the powder even. And then when your puff's looking a little bit like this, I just press it off in my hand to make sure that all the excess is off. This is very important. I know people say that it seems like you're wasting product doing this, but you can always go back in on your hand, and it just means that nothing is going to be patchy. If you leave the powder how it naturally sits on the puff, you will end up with patchy under eyes or a patchy face, because if there's different pockets in the puff with more powder in, then certain areas are going to be drier than others, making it patchy. So when you've got your evenly coated puff, you want to go back in with whatever you've used to blend out your concealer and make sure that there are no creases underneath your eyes, because obviously if you've left a wet concealer underneath your eye for a few minutes, then it may have like naturally sat in any creases. Then once that's done, you can go back in with your puff, look upwards and just press the powder and almost roll it in to the creases underneath your eyes. I always make sure to get in the crease around my nose, and then I literally just pull it underneath where my eyes are. I don't bring it like out over the whole of my cheek, because then again you will get a patchy face. Also like to keep it in the area where I've just put my concealer, and then with the sort of edge of where the powder is sitting on the puff, I will just take that edge with the slightest bit of powder on, a little bit down my smile lines, just to make sure that there's no like line where the powder stops. That is my under eye completely powdered, completely set, and as you can see there are no patches or creases or anything at all. I'm just going to go in on the other eye and repeat the same thing again, so blending out any creases. And then again, just taking my tapped off powder puff, looking up and going right in, starting in the inner corner and working my way out to the outer of my eye, and then down and round the crease in my nose. I feel like you can see better here what I mean about that line where the powder stops, so I'm just taking a little bit further down on my puff where there's hardly any powder on it, and then just blotting those areas to mean that the line just disappears, and then we have a nice set under eye. And that is my face completely set with no patchy powder.